Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Will and welcome to Copper Jacket TV. So as I'm sure a vast majority of you already know, last week we had a major victory at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in a case called Rhode v. Bonta, which is a case that challenged California's ammunition background check scheme. Now, after waiting for multiple years and watching this case get bounced around, we finally had a three-judge panel say that in fact, California's law is unconstitutional. It was not a unanimous decision. It was a 2-1 decision. Now, it was a long opinion. There was a lot to read, a lot to evaluate, and I made a video about it the same day saying that more than likely this case is going to go en banc. It's going to be reheard by a majority of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and other groups, other big 2A groups, including some that are involved, were saying that they needed some time in order to evaluate the opinion and determine what the next steps are and what people are actually allowed to do moving forward with the background checks, right? Well, in the meantime, it turns out that there were several companies who decided to kind of take it upon themselves to start sending stuff in. And it happened fast, and it happened a lot. It seemed like it might be a Freedom Week 2.0 situation happening right before maybe an appeal. Well, we finally have an answer, but instead of coming from any of these 2A groups, it actually comes directly from the California Department of Justice. And we need to talk about it today. So let's get to it. Now, real quick before we get started, this channel is proudly sponsored by Attorneys on Retainer, who is backed by Attorneys for Freedom, the only law firm in the entire country that does nothing but self-defense cases. So if you're somebody who carries to defend yourself or your loved ones, having an Attorneys on Retainer membership in your back pocket is some of the best peace of mind you could ever have, because you never know when a self-defense incident might arise. I highly doubt that guy that went to Walmart that day thought that he was going to end up stopping a guy with a knife, but he did. Now, if something like that happens, you don't want to talk to law enforcement on your own. You want an attorney to talk for you. You call the number on the back of your AOR member card. You speak to an actual attorney who will be there to defend you through the entire process. So check out the link down below. Use my code CJTV. Get the legal defense and the peace of mind that you deserve. Okay, so let's go and talk about what's going on here, because obviously there was some confusion about what was allowed and what was not allowed. And again, these companies were kind of taking it upon themselves to start sending stuff in, even though we didn't have clear guidance from people who were directly involved, like the CRPA or any of those other big groups who were still kind of in a hold pattern until, they figured everything out. Because this was just an opinion issued by that three-judge panel. It was not an order. It was not a mandate, which overturned the stay of the injunction. There's currently an injunction that stopped the enforcement of that law. That injunction was stayed, and so the law remained in effect as this case made its way, through the court system. And so, again, this was an opinion, and it was not an order, it was not a mandate. So we were all waiting to see whether or not California was going to immediately appeal en banc or what was going to happen from there. Well, in the meantime, the DOJ decided to issue this advisory right here. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so here's a look at the advisory right here. It says California Department of Justice, advisory number 166, issued July 28, 2025, and the subject is ammunition purchase laws are still in effect, Rhode et al. V. Bonta. It says this is an update to the bulletin distributed February 5th, 2024, entitled Ammunition Purchase Laws Are Immediately Back in Effect. Stay of Injunction, Rhode et al. V. Bonta. On July 24, 2025, a three-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in Rhode v. Bonta issued its opinion finding California's ammunition background check regime is unconstitutional and affirmed the district court's grant of a permanent injunction. However, before that opinion and permanent injunction may take effect, there are a number of procedural steps that must take place, including that the Ninth Circuit must issue its mandate, which would render the decision final and transfer the jurisdiction back to the district court. Currently, none of those procedural steps have been taken. Accordingly, California's background check requirements for ammunition currently remain in effect and should continue to be followed by dealers, sellers until further notice. For more information about the history of this case and so forth, but it basically says at the end here that if anything changes, there'll be a new advisory and an update of guidance. Now, obviously, this is bad. You have the California Department of Justice sending out this advisory saying, hey, wait up, this law is still in effect. Even though the district court found it unconstitutional, the Ninth Circuit found it unconstitutional, you and I know that this law has been unconstitutional since the very beginning and should have never been enforced in the first place. But now you have these companies that are sending things in, kind of putting people in this legal jeopardy. And now you have the Ninth Circuit, who's kind of left everybody in legal limbo as we wait to see whether or not they're going to issue this mandate or order anytime soon. And so this is a big problem. So as of right now, it seems like we're still kind of in that waiting game. California says they're still going to enforce the law. We're waiting to see if California ends up appealing en banc, waiting to see if the Ninth Circuit issues an order or a mandate reversing the stay, allowing the permanent injunction to take place. The DOJ is saying that if that happens or if anything changes, they'll send out another advisory. I do have some friends that are out there that will let me know immediately if they do get that advisory, and I will tell you about it as quickly as I can. But again, I just wanted to make people out there aware of what the California DOJ is saying. I'm not an attorney. I can't give you legal advice. So, if you have questions or concerns and you're somebody who this letter affects, maybe contact the people that you worked with to see if they have any advice on their end. Other than that, California is just at its same games, enforcing unconstitutional laws. Until we can fix that problem, it's just going to continue to happen, and more people are going to get caught up, in California's unconstitutional system. So anyway, want to let you know about that. I want to thank you all very much for watching. I hope you all have a great day. Take care.